Okay, take a great posture, whatever distraction's going on, and remember your inspiration, how you want to live life, what effect you want to have on this world, and give it away. So, there's the Buddhist notion of idiot compassion, which is a term coined by Trungpa Rinpoche. And it's pretty clear. It's a very insulting term, and I think is powerful because of that. I'll read a couple quotes around it, and then I was asked recently by a podcast listener to do a little talk on this notion. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read their question, which is about their family, and I'll skip over some of the personal bits and talk about true compassion. So idiot compassion is the Buddhist notion coined by Trungpa Rinpoche. Thich Nhat Hanh has a beautiful quote on this on my blog, Idiot Compassion, on elephantjournal.com for further reading. The quote is, quote, "To love without knowing how to love wounds the person we love," Thich Nhat Hanh. So it's similar to that expression, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, that I like to use. So, as I wrote, helping others isn't always helpful for ourselves or them. So how do we avoid idiot compassion? Well, first of all, what is it? It's very similar, as Pema Chodron details. I'll just read actually what she had to say. Someone asked her about it. How do you differentiate the feeling of compassion and the need to remove yourself from a damaging situation? Pema says, idiot compassion is a great expression, which was actually coined by Trungpa Rinpoche, her teacher, my parents' teacher. It refers to something we all do, a lot of, and call it compassion. In some ways, it's what's called enabling. It's the general tendency to give people what they want because you can't bear to see them suffering. Basically, you're not giving them what they need. You're trying to get away from your feeling of, I can't bear to see them suffering. In other words, you're doing it for yourself. You're not really doing it for them. So a lot of people who do work around the Holocaust or around suffering, historical or otherwise, talk about bearing witness or sitting in the pain. And if you can't do that, you can't help someone. And the good news is that none of us can do that, and that all of us can do that. So when we see someone's pain, say if you're Vanessa and you're volunteering for years as you've done at a homeless crisis center, you're going to see a lot of pain, and if you react to it by running away or pretending it's fine or telling them what they should do with their life or trying to fix them, you're not only effed, it's going to cause you all kinds of chaos and pain, but you're probably not going to actually be listening fully to them, learning, feeling it, and then being able to help. And the bad news is at the end of listening, feeling, and being present, you may not even be able to help. But at least you won't have harmed them further by giving them more of your confusion and your good intentions. We all see that in one of the cliches, which sadly is mostly accurate, is first world, generally white, kind of colonialist nonprofits full of good intentions going to Africa, putting in some water pump or whatever that's supposed to solve these women, breaking their necks over decades carrying water 8 miles one way or the other, leaving, and then within a month one screw breaks and they don't have the replacement, and it's all a waste of everyone's time and money. So how can we actually help is the question. In Buddhism they say compassion, 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 compassion. If you're Buddhist, you're going to get so sick of the word compassion or empathy. It is our favorite word. We talk about it all the time. Hey, what kind of tea would you like? Would you like compassion or compassion or compassion or compassion? It's the only thing on the menu. But you have to remember that compassion is equal parts empathy and discernment, wisdom. So it's actually a feminine quality, considered to be a feminine quality in Buddhism, is the sword, the flaming sword of discernment, of prajna, of wisdom. Pretty sure I'm right on that. So my Buddhist name is Prajna Moon, which is discerning wisdom moon. The moon is sort of also connected with wisdom in that context. So how can we be compassionate wisely in a way that helps? I think you can read more on Idiot Compassion on elephantjournal.com, but now I'll just go to the question from our dear reader, listener. And if any of you have questions, you can always send them in to us at talkshow@elephantjournal.com, or on our Instagram at walkthetalkshow, or go to elephantjournal.com/talkshow, and you'll figure it out. So someone messaged me, and I'm not going to read any of the super private parts, but basically I'm at a loss of what to do with my aging parents. Talk about guilt and shame. My mom is exhausting herself taking care of her mom, who is in stage X of dementia. It's putting her through the ringer. The relationship with the grandma and the mom isn't great. Isn't all helpful or respectful. The mom is really doing her best. Then there's an abusive dad who's in the equation. And basically the question, which is so wonderful, and I hope this listener or viewer listens to the talk I just did about always trust the principal one, or yourself first, or, well, what do you think? Because you can find a lot of wisdom in this question that it would be hard for me to match. But the question is, when is enough enough when it comes to taking care of our parents? How can we live full lives without abandoning them? How can we have compassion without enabling bad, destructive, and abusive behavior? And that's the fundamental question around idiot compassion. How can we have compassion without enabling bad, destructive, and abusive behavior? And he or she notes, funny how we can feel so alone on such a worn path. So this is something we're all going through. First of all, I said read Idiot Compassion on elephantjournal.com. I think it will confirm a good deal of what you're saying, feeling. You seem to be on the right track. There's not a lot you can add advice-wise to people who are in the situation. Often they have more wisdom whether they realize it or not. And too often me, we don't realize how much wisdom we have about our own situations. We just haven't stepped back and looked at it. And often that wisdom comes out in our questions when we're thinking we're confused, we're asking for advice. If you just listen to your own question, the answer is usually in there. So obviously I don't know her mom or his mom or grandmother or the abusive father, who's now not as abusive but still verbally abusive. I can't negotiate that entire situation and fix anything. That's points to how lonely that experience can feel, that you're reaching out to someone over the internet. You know, it's a tough situation. So first of all, just feel your own heart. Whatever your experience is, feel your own heart. We often skip past that step and try to fix things, which is a very weirdly patriarchal and aggressive attitude. It's very simplistic and it doesn't actually help. So feel your own heart and your confusion, and have some sympathy for yourself. Have some sympathy for those of you, those folks around you in that situation, and just feel it. Often just feeling it actually leads to the solution. So last weekend, my lady I've been dating, my friend had left, and I spent like a better part of a day inside feeling kind of sad, not really about her leaving, but just sad. And I, spent a lot of time online, kind of working, watching some political videos that were really interesting. Some of the stuff I was doing was fun, but most of it just didn't feel good. And as the day went on, this beautiful day outside, I didn't go out, and I started feeling out of it and not good and not healthy. And I'm sure we've all done that. So it was literally, I've done countless meditation retreats and all this. I should know better, but it took me until about 3 p.m. to kind of say, oh, you're sad. Something's going on. Just feel that. Stop trying to drown your sadness in ice cream or watching something or surfing on Instagram. We all do these weird things that definitely the Buddha didn't say, if you are sad, just scroll through Facebook or Instagram for 3.5 hours and ye shall find succor. Succor, not sucker. I've never heard advice like that. Moses didn't say, if you are sad, just mindlessly eat 2 pints of ice cream and ye shall feel succor. Is awful advice, but we do that. We do things that are bad for us when we feel bad. And instead what we could do is just feel our heart. And from that, we tend to not then come up with really bad ideas. And one of the bad ideas we get into all the time is trying to fix our own feelings through other people, if that makes sense. So you can see that with dogs. I'm a huge fan of the dog whisperer, Cesar Millan. A lot of dog lovers don't like him, and I will fight you over that aggressively. I'm kidding, but I really respect him. And one of the major things he works with is all these people having idiot compassion with their dogs. So they literally anthropomorphize their dogs. They take out all their feelings for wanting a kid or wanting to, they dress up their dogs. They treat their dogs like little toys. And sure, they love their dogs, but really the dogs are there for them. I mean, I hate to get all vegan on you, but if you're eating meat on your plate and loving your dog is like a $5 billion a year industry, I think the dogs are about us. We're not about the dogs. So, idiot compassion. How are we to help our loved ones or any situation without creating further chaos? Again, sometimes it's not helping, as Pema Chodron kind of hints in that blog on elephantjournal.com. If you're enabling, say you're 45, I'm 44, your 44-year-old son to live in your basement for his whole life and not get a job, that may be love, but it's sort of misplaced, and you're enabling him to not have to grow up, not have to get off the couch and figure his stuff out and be scared and be vulnerable, And that's a natural tendency when we're taking care of a child. If they're scared and vulnerable, we want to protect them, but when they're grown up, maybe we need to kick them out of the nest gently and with some help. Basically, like with this person in their situation, I can't say that much because I don't know it that well. An idiot compassion would be trying to give advice on that. But I can say that you do have to take care of yourself. You do have to call a spade a spade. Meaning if your father, or my father is being verbally aggressive, you can call him out on that. Hopefully in a firm but gentle way, meaning you're not adding to the flame of aggression, but you're also not being passive about it and just letting it happen. I think Martin Luther King Jr. has a quote about that. It's not the actions of my enemies, but the silence of my friends. So you need to not be silent as a friend or as a son or a daughter. So I don't know if any of this has made any sense, but I think this is a concept that I think rings true for hopefully everyone who hears it. And yourself, if you're engaging in compassion that is actually bad for the object of your compassion and possibly bad for yourself as well. And that while the intentions may be beautiful, you may need to pull back on manifesting out of a kind of confused or misplaced enabling. And you may need to hold back and let them experience that fear for themselves or that vulnerability for themselves. If you're destroying your own life, helping someone, that may be too much. On the other hand, there's a lot of beauty to just kind of sacrificing your life to serve others, but that has to be a kind of sacrificing that is joyful, where you can still take basic care of yourself. So it's not about holding back. I think a lot of positivity people get into, I don't want to be around messed up people because they'll mess with my perfect pastel life. It's good to engage in compassion, and it will get messy. So none of this is also a weird condemning of the messiness. It's just take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, and thank you for listening. So let's take a good posture, take a good breath, and give it away.